Big 12 football coaches on the hot seat, and I think half this league should be on the hot seat. Now, are they? Probably not. But we can go round and round, right? And we can talk about guys that have to win now. And whether that is Kleiman, whether that is Kalani and Witt, or Joey McGuire in what I think has to be one of the most expensive football programs in the country at Tech right now. If Joey McGuire doesn't go to the college football playoff, how is he not on the hot seat?
I'm a man.
When you start looking at the numbers in this league, Jake, I think more of these guys should be on the hot seat than they probably really are.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to expectations. I mean, you think about like a lot of the ratings and rankings you see in the offseason, and it's seemingly every day that someone puts out a ranking of who's on the hot seat or what's the over under on wins, like who's going to be in the CFP. And I think the biggest issue is that the expectations don't line up nationally versus what's in the Big 12. And I think when you look at this graphic, like, I don't even disagree that Billy Napier's probably got the hottest seat in the country. Like, I just think with everything that's gone on there, like, the expectations are really high. You've got a lot of talent. I'm good with all that. But
when you say the hottest seat in the country, you think he is the most likely guy to be fired?
In my opinion, I would have fired him after last season. I would have, no question about it. He'd have been gone.
But isn't this the Aranda problem? Because you can fire him after last season, but they won games late.
Yeah.
Right? And if Wolf kept his job,
yeah,
and now Billy keeps his job, like, I think that's saying something. But I think the one guy in this league that is even, I think, could be out before the season's over, good old number 5, Cinco de Mayo, Brent Brennan. Because they're bad. And not only are they bad, they are not talented. And when you look at the Big 12, you don't have time not to be competitive. You just don't. And when I look at the belief system that goes into who should be fired and who should be kept, well, sure, we can sit here and say, I think Wolf should have been fired last year.
Right.
Like, I have no doubt that program's not going in the right direction. Dave Aranda's not a guy that I think can rebuild a program that he never built in the first place.
Wolf of Wall Street.
And I feel pretty certain that, listen, this is a dude that probably should have been fired, but he wasn't. Right? I think Mike Gundy at Oak State should have been fired, but he wasn't. I look at people like Kyle Whittingham. Kyle Whittingham should not have been fired. If the same thing were to occur this year, yeah, you got to make a change. I don't think, and you won't even have to tell with that, right? But there are some obvious choices. And I think Arizona, and listen, Rich Rodriguez sat on the show several years ago and said he can't recruit to Tucson.
Yeah.
While he was the head coach at Arizona.
Well, and I would go one step further, and I would say if you're in Arizona's shoes right now with what's going on in Tempe, I think it's a little unrealistic to expect that, if a kid's looking at Arizona State versus Arizona, you're losing that fight. And the only way to win that fight or start winning that fight is to get a much younger guy in there who's super energetic, runs a really good program, and makes it attractive. But the problem is there's just not a lot of those guys out there. And what's difficult is Kenny's got this great story where he goes to ASU. He's been there for a while. Now he's the football coach. Like, so he's got all this great stuff going on. And all jokes aside, this IPF idea, I think, is exactly why Kenny Dillingham is one of the best, if not the best coach right now in the Big 12, because it's a brilliant concept. Like, not only does that help you win more football games because your facility would be much closer to the stadium. It works. Like, obviously you're practicing indoors a lot in the summer. It makes a lot of sense. But then the idea that you could, revenue generate off of that through a tailgating experience, I think just makes perfect sense. So I just think that Kenny Dillingham is doing all the right things right now. And his AD is in line. Did an interview today talking about how he and coach have talked about it and they know the number and what they got to do.
Yeah.
So, like, I just think that they're all in line. And I think the hard part is guys like Brent Brennan and, other folks in the leagues, the Scott Frosts of the world, they're just not. They're just not that guy. So, again, when we look at who's on the hot seat and who's not, I do think that there are several guys in this league who should be. who are not because their university just seemingly doesn't care. And then there are other guys who know if they have a terrible year this year, they're going to retire. Like, that's the difference. And that's what I think the Big 12 struggles with.
Yeah, I am very curious to see who gets whacked first. And when you look at the fan base, just think of all the people we talk to on a regular basis. A lot of Big 12, a lot of SEC. I mean, you got 20,000 people watching the show. I imagine we have a pretty good spread of people across the country, right? And I think the hard part is, like, I'm a Notre Dame fan. I think Marcus Freeman is, I don't believe he'll ever win a national championship at Notre Dame. And I don't mean to rail about this, but I got kicked in the balls for like an hour today, texting with a friend of mine who is a diehard USC booster. Just going on about, well, you guys don't even have a quarterback. I don't want to hear about our strength and conditioning coach. How about you find a quarterback? We don't have a quarterback. And everybody knows it. Marcus Freeman ain't winning a national championship, right? Lou Holtz ain't walking through that door anytime soon. And so when I look at programs across the league, dude, I don't think there's any doubt. Venables at Oklahoma, for instance, if he does not have a big season, tell me again how he should and what's the justification for keeping his job.
What's a big season? 9 wins?
No, you got to go to the college football playoff.
Yeah, good luck,
you cannot. In the SEC, did you join the SEC for the paycheck or to win big games? Right? Because we can sit here and we could talk about Ohio State. Ohio State is they're going to play in big games every single week. Is Oklahoma?
Oh, Oklahoma will play in big games.
Yeah, I don't think
that doesn't mean that they're going to win big games.
Are games against Oklahoma big games where you're like, hell yeah, we're going to Norman? No, they're not. They're not. And you can look at that league top to bottom, and you have to ask yourself, where does Oklahoma fit into that league? I don't think it's are you telling me that Oklahoma is going to be top 5 in the SEC?
Well, but that's my point, is what's a big year for Oklahoma? Like, I think it's asking a lot, especially given what's going on at Texas right now, for Oklahoma to just walk in there and be like, yeah, we're going to take all the best talent. We're going to be able to compete for the SEC.
But you have a pretty light schedule. Right? You have a light schedule at Oklahoma. You're playing Illinois State, Michigan, at Temple, Auburn, Kent State. Texas is your first real game. That's October 11th. Your first real game is October 11th. Look at
that run they go on in the back half of the schedule. Dude.
Right, but that's the SEC. Oh, strength of schedule. They're not deep. That league sucks. They're top heavy. That's life in the SEC. You've got to go to the playoffs in the SEC. Don't you have to win 10 games? Is Oklahoma a team that strikes you as that can win 10 games this year?
No.
Can they? Sure. Will they? Absolutely not.
I'm not. I don't even know that I would agree. Can they?
I don't think there's any chance that they're winning 10 games. I don't see that. I don't believe that. And I could be wrong. I am down that I just don't know anything about Oklahoma football. But I do, and they're not gonna. And I'm telling you, Venables isn't that guy. He is not that guy. And I would go as far as to say, if Lincoln Riley has a crappy year at USC and gets whacked, do you not rehire him the second he's available at Oklahoma?
Just say that. How do you not?
I think you absolutely would.
How do you not?
I think you absolutely would. And maybe I'm too blunt about it, but when I look at the SEC, we're not in this league for hot cheerleaders and fresh beer at the stadium, right? We're in this league to win championships, and Oklahoma's nowhere near winning a championship. They're not even in anybody's mind. And this, you got to remember what it was. And I'm not talking about Barry Switzer. I'm talking about Bob fucking Stoops. I'm talking about Lincoln Riley, who I agree didn't win championships, but Lincoln Riley took you to the door. He just couldn't get you through. Brent Venables doesn't even know how to get to the front door. Like, they have been terrible under him. And I just don't think that changes. I don't think that changes. And when you look at their schedule, they don't have a game of consequence until October 11th against Texas. Simple as that.
I mean,
right?
I'm just gonna put this out here. I mean, they've got, you look at odds, the boys in Vegas. I mean, they got one of the highest odds to win the SEC at plus 2,500. You know, like you're not even close. So I don't know, man. I don't. I guess it comes down to how Oklahoma leadership views the program, because I would agree that if you said, "Hey, well, is Oklahoma a brand that should be able to compete in the SEC?" Yeah, of course, of course. I think we all agree with that. But at the same time, you know, Oklahoma hasn't really been that guy since Lincoln left. And the trouble is you had one great game against Texas that everyone talks about, and that's kind of it. And I don't know how you go about getting back, because you look at the schedule. You say they have a soft schedule. I say that's potentially a 4-win schedule, bro.
But
That's
not
like
if you're a championship team.
but they're not.
And I agree that it is probably one of the 5 most difficult schedules in the SEC. But look at you. I don't mean to be redundant. They don't have a game of consequence until October 11th. And then I agree, it gets more and more difficult every week. But isn't that how you want your schedule to set up? You want to be able to get your systems. You want to be able to get your guys acclimated. And then you get to the Red River rivalry on October 11th. Then it's at South Carolina. Then it is Ole Miss. Then it's at Tennessee, at Alabama, Mizzou, and LSU. You got to play the heavy hitters. Every week in that league, it's heavy hitters. Every single week. But let's not sit here and pretend that their schedule is Vanderbilt. Has anybody looked at Vandy's schedule?
Bro, Oklahoma's season over under across most places is only 6.5.
Yeah.
Like,
If
I
they
don't think there's some expectation.
Hey, if they win 6 games, Brent Venables should be fired.
Well,
done. Right? Look at Vandy's schedule. Charleston Southern, at Vodtech, at South Carolina, Georgia State, Utah State. And then you want to talk about a hammer? They go from Utah State to at Alabama, LSU, Missouri, at Texas, Auburn, Kentucky, at Tennessee. That's got to be the hardest schedule in the league. Right? But it's Vandy, so who's going to bat an eye if they win 6 games with that schedule? Nobody. Nobody's even going to notice. Right? But you look at who's another mid-table. Look at Auburn, because a lot of people think Hugh Freeze is going to get whacked if they don't run. At Baylor, Ball State, South Alabama. At Oklahoma, at Texas A&M, Georgia, Missouri, at Arkansas, Kentucky, at Vandy, Mercer, Alabama. Is that a 7-win schedule? Right? Like, that's what this league is. So if we're talking about guys on the hot seat, Billy Napier's not doing the job.
Right.
I'd have fired his ass last year. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Brent Venables isn't doing the job. You win 6 games, you're out. That's not who we are in Norman. Right? At Oklahoma is winning 6 games that of consequence. And hell, what if you lose a Texas game and you win 6 games? That doesn't feel like a win. You lose a Texas game, you might as well just, pack it in. Because it almost doesn't matter what you do the rest of the year.
Totally agree.
So, I don't know. I think we have to get to a point where the expectation is we're playing for the national championship of college football at Florida, at Oklahoma, at Texas, at Bama, at Notre Dame, at Ohio State, at USC. Like these muddling programs. How does Ohio State do what they did? And USC can't even compete? It's over if Lincoln doesn't win 10 games this year. I think it's over for them. And that brings me back to my point about guys like Scott Satterfield. Listen, I love Scott. I think he is one of the best dudes in college football. You're done after this year. I don't know that there's anything he could do outside of win the conference to keep his job.
Yeah, and the problem is I don't know who you go and get to replace him.
I don't know. I don't know either. And I look at Brent Brennan. Brent Brennan has done, I think, a terrible job. Now, you're replacing Jed Fish, who I think is one of the most successful builders in Tucson that we've seen in some time. And he's already got Washington going in a very positive direction, right? So I look at Brent Brennan, and that's the beginning. Because how tough is it going to be to have that conversation with Mike Gundy after the season?
Yeah.
I
Easy.
think that's going to be very difficult. I think it's going to be very difficult. OU, according to Big Pontiff, OU went to the SEC because Texas is codependent. Could be. Could be. I am really curious. And this might sound harsh. I don't know. Is Oklahoma State ever relevant again if football never changes and it's the Big 12 and the SEC and OU and Oklahoma State are in different conferences and they're not playing each other? I think it's going to be very difficult for Oklahoma State to be relevant. Honest to goodness.
Well, I think, the thing that comes to mind is that, like whether looking at that graphic or just in the big picture, like you think about the good programs, they've all got dynamic head coaches.
Correct.
All the winning teams have real dynamic
That's
head
right.
coaches that are either young hotshot guys being real creative with what they're doing, or it's on the flip side where it's like, hey, you're a real veteran, you're really good with the media, you have a resume that brings in the best talent, like, and you're very respected. And I think, when I look around college football, it's these guys who are older and not charismatic and they're struggling. And I think that the mystique of Mike Gundy has worn off. I think that college football has changed so much that you look around college football, like Dabo needs to start winning again. Like, it's all fine and dandy.
No question.
The ACC, preseason media poll comes out and Clemson wins that thing by a mile with I think it was 135 votes they got or something like that. And everyone thinks they're just the best team in that conference. And that might be true. But the reality is, coming out of the ACC for Clemson, a good season is winning a national championship for that team coming out of that conference. Like, look at that conference. You really like that? That's not a good conference on the football field, bro. Like, stop talking to me about the length and girth of the ACC. It's not a good conference.
And listen, I understand, and I get that this is what we do. If North Carolina finishes top 10 in that conference with an entire new regime, you're in trouble. Because I look at...
It'd be 2 years in a row of bad team competing to win the conference.
You cannot have Pitt finish ninth in this league.
Because it's garbage.
You cannot.
And listen, with all due respect, I like the Pitt West Virginia thing. I think everybody does. But let's not sit here and look at this graphic and be like, yeah, well, man, if Va-Tech can have a resurgency, get the hell out of here.
But what excuses do you make? And again, I asked the same question about Joey, the mullet, Witt, all the down programs. How do you justify NC State? How do you justify Va-Tech being irrelevant? Virginia does not matter in football. Wake Forest, Cal, Stanford. How do you justify it? You have money, especially at Stanford. You have all the money in the world. How do you justify being this bad in football? How do you justify Virginia being 14th in the ACC? Because they're not trying to win a championship. And I look up and down this list and I say to myself, if Florida State's 7th, there's going to be huge changes in Tallahassee.
Yeah, I mean, shouldn't this graphic be like Clemson, Florida State, 1 and 1A?
It should be Clemson, Florida State, and Miami, period. And I think after that, there is no doubt in my mind that Louisville, Pitt, what is the excuse for Pitt? I'm tired of hearing about Pitt being this cool story. If you finish outside of the top 10 in this league, I don't ever want to hear from another Pitt fan because there's no excuse. This league is not good. SMU, how is SMU third? Granted, they have a really good quarterback. How are they third? How is SMU picked well ahead of Florida State and Pitt? It's embarrassing. That is embarrassing. And at some point, you've got to be better than this. You've got to be better than this. And frankly, I just don't know that teams and programs are willing to do what needs to be done to win at a high level, even in the ACC and the Big 12. Baylor's not willing to do what's got to be done. Oak State's not willing to do what's got to be done. Cincinnati, Houston cannot continue to toil. That is a massively important market for the Big 12. The city of Houston and Southeast Texas is really important for the Big 12. And right now, it doesn't even exist. It does not even exist because Houston is a basketball town, period. Houston football doesn't even exist. And that's really a tough pill for this league to swallow. You cannot continue to toil. It really just chaps my loins when we talk about
length and girth
and not being able to win games.
Yeah.
It really frustrates me. It's again why I get so fired up about Notre Dame not having a quarterback. You explain that to me. How are you a head football coach at a power program and you don't have a quarterback?
Oh, okay. Power program's putting it lightly. Dude, that's one of the most iconic programs in college football, bro.
Yeah.
Like that's not just a power program. That's like, hey, Notre Dame football, iconic venue, national TV every week, like everything that you could want as a quarterback. And somehow, some way, you don't have a quarterback. I just don't understand it. I don't understand why it's so difficult. I don't understand. And this is kind of my point. Like you think about the best head coaches in college football, and this is something that your boy needs to figure out, because Notre Dame, in my opinion, if he had a quarterback last year, we're having a different conversation.
I would
Ohio
agree,
State, dude. We're
I would
having
agree.
a real different conversation. And I still think, Ohio State wins that national championship either way, but that game would have been a lot closer if you had the ability to put up, even 24, 27, if you could push the ball down the field.
And again, this year you have a healthy Jeremiah Love. You have a really good receiving core. Please. I could go on and on about it.
What good is it?
I could go on and on and on about it, and it probably just doesn't even matter.
And it's honestly why you lose some of those oddball games, right? You have the one-off game where you can't score and the other team just showed up ready to ball out, even though they're, a G5 nothing burger.
And I say this about the NFL all the time. You explain to me how the Chicago Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer.
It's incredible.
You explain to me how the New York Giants are still trying to find a franchise-level quarterback. You explain to me how the New York Jets don't have a franchise quarterback. How do all these teams in the NFL, are we just in a generation where the quarterbacks are just not good? How is Anthony Richardson your starting quarterback in Indianapolis? And I've been telling you, and Colts fans have been in here trying to slap me in the nuts over it. I've told you for 2 years that guy's not a starting quarterback in the NFL. And I don't think he'll ever be. What did the GM say today? Yeah, he wasn't ready. We threw him into the fire too soon. You don't say. So your answer was to go and get the guy who flamed out in New York and Daniel Jones? That was your yet the Buffalo Bills have Josh Allen, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yep.
Right? Like and I'm being serious. If Josh Allen was a Baltimore Raven, how many Super Bowls do they have? Not would they have won a Super Bowl. How many Super Bowls would the Ravens have if they had Josh Allen instead of Lamar?
A lot.
Oh, my God. Are you out of your mind? But yet, here we go. Notre Dame doesn't have a quarterback. All these NFL teams don't have a quarterback. Like, you can't tell me that these guys aren't just really very bad at what they do, because they are. They are. Marcus Freeman didn't recruit a quarterback. You're at Notre Dame. Yet Ohio State goes and get Will Howard, and what does Will Howard do? He goes and wins a national championship, and arguably, almost inarguably, in the most difficult path we've ever seen.
Ohio State.
It blows my mind.
Yeah.
And you have the University of Texas, who's got Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning. How did they have two all-world quarterbacks and Notre Dame's got none? And Alabama's got Jalen Milroe. You couldn't lob a phone call to Arch Manning? You don't think Arch Manning would have wanted to go to Tuscaloosa? Apparently not. I think he committed the minute he got shot into his mom. I think he committed to Texas.
I'm sorry. The minute he got shot into his mom.
Those are your words, not mine.
Length and girth.
Right? I just think it's one of those things that It is what it is. Yeah, Soldier Field. 2 words, Soldier. You're building a football stadium on a pile of horse crap.
How?
Literally on a pile of horse crap.
Fuck you. Fuck
Right?
you. You
Like, who does
sucked.
that? Who does
Right.
that?
Yeah. Shouty.
Like, literally, who does that?
King of Thailand, G-Men just incompetent. Front office loves the owners.
Damn.
Like, go get Kerry Collins out of retirement. Come on, man. That awkward guy, Richardson, is a starting running back. Yeah, but he's not a starting quarterback, right? Crazy. Chewy Gonzalez, Monty, don't say Josh Allen or you'll summon Big Daddy Magic.
Yeah, please.
No,
don't.
Big Daddy Magic is never here when I say nice things about Josh Allen or the other tall, freaky dude.
Victor's the way.
Stop. Now that will summon the masses. It's fine. Texas, Shouty says Texas don't need Oklahoma. Bring to the SEC. Well, apparently they did.
Apparently.
Big Daddy Dallas. I miss Will Howard. Why? You have a really good quarterback. I wouldn't be worried about that.
Oh, Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Yeah.
Ohio State.
Come on, man. Travis says Mahomes is Josh Allen's daddy. I don't actually think that's biometrically or it's biologics. I don't think the biologics add up there.
Yeah.
The age, the calendar.
Yeah, it doesn't really,
Biologics.
I don't know how that works.
I think that's possible.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Biologics.
Yeah, exactly. Biologics.
Biologics.
Tell me that she's not going,
Biologics.
you
You got to get stroked.
Yeah, that's what she's doing at the end of it.
Biologics.
What was
Biologics.
it? A Philly fan at Yankee Stadium or whatever that was the other day? There she is.
Yeah.
Greg Hill, Monty is going for the Notre Dame jugular. I'm so tired, bro.
I have to, for once, agree with you with your negativity. It does get old talking about why Buddy can't get a quarterback.
What my sports life sucks. Right? Like, honest to God. The Cubs won today. Thanks for showing up. We have the best defensive outfielder in Major League Baseball, Pete Crow Armstrong. Did you guys watch that abomination, that disaster he put on in center field last night? Not only did he dive and miss a ball that went to the wall, then he got too close to the wall and missed another one. And then, hey, bro, yeah, got it. Oh, I don't have it. I dropped a can of corn.
Hey, look here, man.
Cubs haven't made a trade yet. Every other fucking team in Major League Baseball has made a trade. Have the Cubs made a trade yet? No, they haven't.
That's what
Not one. Like 3 of the relievers we could have had.
2 or 10. Zero.
The relievers we could have had, gone. Now, I agree. The price tags for these guys are ridiculous.
Cashless.
But I'm telling you right now, if Eugenio Suarez doesn't wind up wearing a Chicago Cub uniform, I'm kicking Jed Hoyer in the dick. Like, I have had enough. I have
Length and girth.
the Bulls. What else am I going to say? The Bears, stadium on a pile of horse crap.
Garbage.
Quite literally building on where the horses took a dump.
Yeah.
The Blackhawks, terrible. The Cubs,
Not terrible, but not good enough.
and then Notre Dame doesn't have a quarterback. Okay. You figure it out. And I got Nail Painter, a quarterback for the Bears. Which is fine.
Whoa, I thought you didn't have an issue with Nail Painter.
Yeah. The motherfucker threw up 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns.
Nail Painter.
I'll paint your nails for you
How
at that
about
point.
Mr. Flower in his hair?
Right? Put your face in my mom's cleavage. I don't care. Throw for 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns, and I'm here.
Nobody said boo.
Yeah, I got you, boo. But you throw for 20 touchdowns and 15 picks, I will be over with the nail polish remover.
Fuck you.
Right?
Fuck you.
Right?
You suck.
I'm going to be the best quarterback the Bears have ever had. At some point, maybe never. Anyway, that's my life as a sports fan. And we sit here and we talk about firing coaches. Marcus Freeman had 10 guys on the field against Ohio State 2 years ago at the stadium, not once, but twice.
And as you can see, there's not much hope for you left.
At the goal line, when millimeters were going to win or lose that game, he had 10 guys on the field.
Ohio State.
Did he catch it the first time?
Dude.
It happens the first. How about that second time? Please. Whatever. Notre Dame is poor and can't afford a QB. That must be it. Yeah, one of the richest programs in all of college football. Yeah, they can't afford it. Sorry, my brother, but I have seen so many passes go errant due to a gust of wind off Lake Michigan.
Brother.
Listen, I understand it. The ghost of Walter Payton doing a blowjob at Soldier Field.
Sucking a ding dong.
You know, like the ball just, I don't know what happened, coach. You know, Wally Payton, like.
Brother.
Jim McMahon won a Super Bowl with his arm out of socket. And
Wait, out of socket or out of pocket?
And yes. And as a kid, Jim McMahon put a fork in his eye and he still won a Super Bowl with a lacerated kidney. And you're painting your nails and burying your face in mom's cleavage. And you're talking to me about breaking Bears records. Great. 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns would be amazing.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Then can you please Saturday play for Notre Dame? We're like the number 7, and we'll call you Rick Smiley, the brand new quarterback out of the portal. Great. Sunday, head up to Chicago.
Let's ride.
Do the job, beat the Packers, and everything's fine.
Then paint your nails whatever color you want.
You know that's not going to happen. You know it's Monty. Cubs won't make a trade. Bulls ain't trying to win until Jerry's dead. Anyway, you know. Mikhail says, happy clowns, please. I ain't got no happy clowns. You know. Big Daddy Dallas. Monty needs to add explosion sounds to his driver videos. Hey, man. If all I had to do was play golf, fine. Went to see my doctor today. What did we talk about for the first hour I was in his office? Golf swing mechanics, because he watches my videos and he's like, dude, I'm topping the ball.
You really got to shallow out your shaft a little more, Monty.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Mike Smith. I lived through Neil Brown and Jared Jones. Quit squalling, Monty.
Dude.
I'm trying.
Smiles and glory holes.
Hey, New York, Tom Brady out of retirement. Don't even.
Why are we talking about Tom?
You know. The woof of the rectory. Big fat goose egg amount of Cubs trades. 0. Like nothing, nada.
Because they're not trying to win a World Series.
Are the Mets making deals? Yes.
Bro, the Mets are so committed to making deals. We have videos of Bullpen Buddy crying in a Mets uniform when he was informed he was going to the Giants in the Tyler Rogers deal. Like, that's how committed people in New York are to that team being good.
Yeah.
Like,
Billy Donovan got a contract extension.
Neat. Another year of mediocrity. I mean, excuse me, my bad.
Do you understand?
Another 4 years of mediocrity.
We got rid of Lonzo. We got rid of everybody. We traded the whole roster. How many first-round picks did we get? 0. We have the same amount of first-round picks as Notre Dame's got starting quarterbacks.
Bro, you traded Headband for nothing.
Alex Caruso won a championship.
Jesus.
We got nothing. DeMar, Zach, Lonzo, nothing. We got nothing. Lonzo's finally healthy. The knee is finally capable of playing in the NBA. We got nothing.
Ain't no reset.
Nada. Zip.
It's
0.
embarrassing, dude.
Like it is so incredibly frustrating to me that we just can't ever on any of my teams get it right. So when we talk about people like Oak State sucking a ding dong, it's like, how difficult is it to fire your coach instead of cutting his pay?
Sucking a ding dong.
Right? Like it's so frustrating to me.